level can make a budget. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yes.
It just needs to be in the most simplistic way that you can. Like even a mama boga can do it. You know, those of the people who are doing even those small businesses, they can still be able to do it. Somebody who is just starting out, and even children. And I think the key thing is to understand that failure and to fail are two different things.
True. And the fear of knowing the truth is also a challenge.
Yes.
And I think it is high time that we realize that. I think when we face that truth and we know it, it is the beginning of our healing.
I have adopted a strategy which I call a 24-hour wait, whereby I tell myself, all right now I am feeling I really need this shoe. This color, I don't think I have it in my
closet,
in my shoe rack and all that. So I got to a place where I am teaching myself, and this is where the real learning is, and the learning to wait for at least 24 hours before I make that decision.
Yes.
And what that does to me is that it helps me settle that gratification sense that is in me. And I say, I can't delay this.
Hello, money enthusiasts. Today, it's a bright day and I welcome you to Money Conversations, and today we have Pauline, our coach as well, and I want to welcome her. And today we are going to be looking at personal finance and personal finance planning. So can you please tell us, say hi to us, as even you introduce to us and tell us what personal finance is.
All right. Thank you, Beth, for having us back in these money conversations or money positions. And to, our viewers, our community, who we believe are the money enthusiasts, as we are calling them. So we are progressing on from where we left, from the place of understanding financial literacy, and now we are coming to what is personal finance. And I think as we begin this conversation, it will just be good for us to ask ourselves, are we there planning for our future in terms of our finances, or do we just sit back and say...
And you say you live once, YOLO.
You live once, and life happens, and you're surviving through the journey of your finances. But yes, personal finance planning is very, very important. And why is it important? It's important because it helps you get clarity. You are in a frame of mind where you understand where you're going. And I would think of it like when you think of a journey, when you're taking a journey, say for example, you're planning for a trip, even the basic one, from your house to the office or from your house to the next destination. You think through how will you arrive to your destination. And there are strategies that you put in that line. Which means of transport am I using? Am I walking? Am I taking boda? Am I, going by matatu? Am I using my personal car? If so, how much money do I need for each means? How much time do I need? When I go for that meeting, what am I going to discuss? You've already laid that out, and what outcome are you looking at even from this meeting? So basically, I would bring that now back to what personal finance planning is. Remember, we are saying it's personal finance.
It is an individual thing.
It is an individual game because it is what speaks to you and how you'd want to plan for your own finances. So
what I'm getting from you is that for you to be able to go somewhere, or if you want, for example, to achieve something in life or financially, there must be a goal. So the goal is probably to build a house, probably to save for your retirement or whatever it is. So there must be a goal, and you have to plan for that goal. So please, can you maybe explain or let us understand how do we set financial goals?
All right, even before we set the financial goals, we need to ask ourselves, we've said that it's a journey that you're taking so that you achieve your financial outcomes that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So you need to assess your financial health first.
Yeah.
And take something I call the financial triage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the way you go to hospital, they want to know how is your blood pressure, how is your heart rate and all that.
Yeah, and the weight and the height.
And the weight, the height, and on all that. Same applies with our finances. So what is it, what is a financial triage? And the way I look at it is, so now in the financial health process, we need to do our own assessment in the financial triad. What are we saying? We need to ask ourselves, do we even know how much comes in as your income, how much you earn? Because what are you planning for? If you don't know how much you're earning, you need to know your expenses. You need to know, do you have any debts? And again, it goes back now again, tying all these to what are the goals that you're setting for yourselves. Because they all have to tie into this. You know, in the triage is where you tell your doctor, oh, I think yesterday I was having a headache, I'm feeling this, my palpitations. So you ask, you know, is your financial headache at? What is causing that financial headache? Or what is causing that pain in your toe or in your whatever? And so the same applies to that. So you need to ask also yourself, when you think into the future, because we were saying, are you planning for your future, or are you just there waiting for things to align in whatever way? Are you thinking about your retirement? And retirement doesn't have to be in the age of 60. You know, those ones our parents were saying retirement is at the age of 50, 60. It starts today.
Yes.
You need to ask yourself, what kind of retirement? When you don't have that energy to go out and earn, for a 20-year-old, 30-year-old, those people in those age brackets, 30, how do you want your future to look at? And you know, we are not oriented to think about the future most of the time. We are thinking the here and now, you know. But in the assessing of your financial health, you need to think about that, so that you set clear goals that align to that. Another important factor is to ask yourself the values that you hold, you know. What is the motivation as to why you're doing the financial decisions that you're doing? Are they driven by certain values? Will you say that you'll not take a job in Mombasa because you cannot stay away from your family? And what does it mean when you don't take that job? You'll not say because you don't have enough. You know what the value behind that? And all these now speak to the 3 M's about money, which govern the financial principles that you need to look at when you're setting the goals. How you make money, how you manage it, and how you multiply the money. So you had asked about the goal setting. How then do we do proper goal setting, proper financial goal setting? Because you can say you're setting a goal and say you want to save like 10,000 shillings. That my goal for this quarter or for this particular season is to save 10,000. Do you think that goal really is achievable the way it is? So you need to ask, okay, this 10,000 shillings, how do I achieve it? Is what we call the SMART goal setting, where you ask, this 10,000, where will I get it from? What is it for? What is my time frame? So I'll save 10,000 in 10 months. So basically, I'd be putting 1,000 shillings every month for me to achieve. And why am I saving this 10,000? Maybe it's to build on my emergency fund, it's to go for a vacation and all that. So it has to be very defined into that. And that gives you the clarity in your financial journey. So we are saying SMART goal setting has to incorporate the time frame. So we have 3 ways we can look at it. And remember, I say personal finance is personal to you. But there are 3 ways into which you can look at it. Short-term goals. What are your short-term goals? These are goals that you want maybe to achieve within a period of 1 year. Say, for example, is saving to buy something that you require, like a phone, or you need to go for a vacation, or you need to pay school fees for your children. So what are the goals that fit in that short term? Then there's a medium term goal. And why are you setting these medium term goals? Maybe a year, 2 years, and that. Maybe you need to start now investing in a certain investment solution. Maybe it's a money market fund, or you're going into the fixed income, you're going into the real estate, you're going into shares and all that. So you ask yourself, what are the different asset classes, and so that you know how to diversify. Maybe you need to buy a plot somewhere. Then you go to the long term. This is 5 years and above. You're thinking about your home ownership plan. You're thinking about even your travel plan. You know, like you need to travel to another continent to start saving early. You need to think about the education, the retirement, and all that. And how does it help you at the end of the day? Said it helps you gain your financial security, your financial independence, and your wealth creation journey. So you need to ask yourself, what is my income strategy? Income strategy is, how am I earning this?
How am I going to earn this?
How am I going to earn this? Do you have one stream, or do you have other streams? And we are going to look at how then do we build the income strategy. Your cash flow strategy. How then do you budget for it? Because budgeting has to sit in your goal planning. When you're setting your goal. How then are you going to do your investment strategy? Which are the different investment options that suit you? And again, remember, we need to think about the risk tolerance into it, because nowadays
each person has a different risk tolerance level.
And also the awareness of, when I'm getting into this investment, what is the risk?
This is the risk that I expect.
Exactly. Then you need to look at the legacy that you're creating out of that. It's not just about planning, but think about also the legacy that you're creating, and that is through the estate planning and the retirement planning. And you need to protect your money. Imagine today, Beth, you have made these great investments. You've put up your rentals, or you've developed something that is of great value, but you've not protected that, and then
something happened.
How do you protect yourself?
So what I'm getting from your conversation is that when your goals should be smart. So that in as much as you're setting a goal, there must be time to it. You have to look at the long-term and short-term goals. And then there's something really amazing that you've talked about. It's about protecting protecting what you have built. Because, for example, I am imagining somebody who has already achieved their goal, and they never had put in mind how to protect to protect whatever they have, if it's an investment. So I think those are some of the things that people should now be made aware, that there is something like protecting your investment, and it comes early when you're setting your goals, so that even as you're actualizing your goal, you have in mind the end. So I want you to maybe tell us, why do people not set those goals, or why is it so hard to set goals? Are there barriers to setting a goal, for example?
Yes and no. But when you have many conversations with people, and you ask them about, have you set your goals, have you planned for your finances? And most of the times you'll hear someone telling you they don't have, some people don't have the plans. There are those who are doing it, but we also have a big percentage of people who don't set their goals. And maybe some of the things I would think of is, you don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some people who really don't know where do you begin.
Yeah.
How do you even set those goals?
Yes.
Because I think there's a lot of conversations about setting your career goals, setting your business goals, but about setting your financial goals. And some people will just say, I really don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm not setting them. And like we were saying in our conversation, where do you really start is first assessing yourself on where you are at financially, because that is what helps you to know where you're setting. Do you even have a small budget, a basic budget that tells you this is what I make in a day and this is what goes out? And everyone at whatever level can make a budget. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yes.
It just needs to be in the most simplistic way that you can. Like even a mama boga can do it. You know, those of the people who are doing even those small businesses, they can still be able to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody who is just starting out, and even children.
Yeah.
You know, they need to have that. Can you give them that
100 bob?
100 bob that they can be able to
save 20 bob.
To save 20 bob out of that. So it's about learning to start small habits, small financial habits, like just setting a budget.
Yeah.
When you think about debt, because that's another big thing, do you manage your debt properly? Or are you afraid to look at that, your financial health, because of the level of debt that you have? And so that one, when you look at it and you're asking, and you want me to do a financial plan and this is how messy I am because of how deep I am in debt. Yeah. And it is important for us to face our debts as they are. And we'll have a conversation around that, about debt, how do we manage debt, the type of debts, good and bad debt. We'll have that conversation as we continue.
Yeah.
For some people also is about, so if you don't know where to start, how do you go about it? We have said just start small. Just start by analyzing what is my income, what are my expenses, and this is my budget. In the most simple way that you can. Number two is you understand what assets do you hold. You know, whether it is a phone. Your phone is your asset. If you have a car, if you have housing, understand that vis-a-vis the liabilities that you have, which is the debts that you have. Then you also need to overcome fear of failure. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were telling me one of the things that they struggle with is fear of failure. And so when we zoned in around that fear is because they have failed in many things, and so they are always afraid of sitting down and
even starting something new.
Yes,
I know.
And I think the key thing is to understand that failure and to fail are two different things.
True. They are totally different things.
Yes. So it's about learning the experiences you got from what failed to work, but not really having the mindset of because I failed, I am a failure. So even setting my financial goal, at the end of the day, I will feel like that I failed in that kabiashara that I was starting.
I know.
I will fail, you know, the way I had planned for my career progression. I had set it. This is the line I want. Then we took a ground. You go and find out.
They are very different.
They are so different.
Actually, somebody was telling me that most of the people that really failed, I'm imagining those maybe who used to be the last in class, and those guys they failed so much that they currently don't fear anymore. But those people who are really doing so well and when they start something and they fail, they have that fear of what I just failed because it's their first time. So I think we need to have people, and that is why coaches are very important, like you and I. Where we tell now this person, don't worry about that, where do you start? So I think what also I'm getting from you as you're discussing this financial, as in the challenges to financial goal setting, it's all about the fear that maybe facing that challenge that I have with money, or maybe, for example, debt, the fear that you will I don't know how to put that word.
Unmask.
Yeah, you are going to face it the way it is, the naked truth. Yeah, the fear of knowing the truth is also a challenge.
Yes.
And I think it is high time that we realize that. I think when we face that truth and we know it, it is the beginning of our healing. And so we are looking at how financial health is going to be important for you as you understand the barriers to goal setting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think when you remove the mask,
yes,
and you face it in
yes,
the most rawest way,
yes,
then you're able to overcome this fear of or the avoidance habit that we adopt.
Yeah.
Because we have come across people who really avoid handling or looking into their finances and analyzing.
And I think it's a personality.
It's a money personality.
Yeah, it's a money personality. They really hide into. They enjoy not knowing.
They enjoy not knowing. But what does that do?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
By the end of the day, it causes them stress. By the end of the day, because they don't. That problem is still there. It's just like when people decide that I will take alcohol to prevent me from this stress that I have. But in the morning they still have that stress.
It has not gone anywhere.
It has not gone anywhere. So it is. I think we are trying to tell people that yes, face that. Look for a therapist, a financial therapist, and I think that's why you're here.
Yes.
Financial therapist to help you now unmask that, face it, and now draw a goal towards it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it helps you shift your mindset.
Yeah.
You know, from that mindset of avoidance to a mindset of saying, this is where I am at.
Yes.
I need to deal with it. So you're able to go below the iceberg.
Yes.
And ask yourself, these are just the symptoms. Avoidance is just a symptom.
Yeah.
But what is below the avoidance? And that's where the financial therapy comes in.
Yeah.
So that you're able to unpack and see what is below this iceberg that you're not addressing.
Yes.
Could it be coming from maybe trauma, financial trauma? You know, people
it is
have
real.
gone through financial trauma.
And it's real, especially for those people who grew up with parents that you never discussed money.
Yeah.
And there was these instances when maybe you would ask your parent maybe to give you 100 bob, and they are like, I will think about it, I'll look for money. Then you are asking just 100 bob. I mean, so it was not something you can discuss with your parent. You not tell them that if they tell you no, you have to. There was no other discussion beyond why no, and I can see money in your purse and something like that. But I think because of that financial trauma, we have lived a point, we are even into a point where we don't discuss it. And I think it's still with us that we are avoiding facing these challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether Beth, you grew up hearing money does not grow on trees.
It's true. And it was a discussion where if you ask for something, it was not to be luxurious, then you ask, money does not grow on trees. You have to learn the financial thing of saving. I think saving and that is why you should have captured that from those ages. They had to save that money, or I don't know if it's preserving it or something, but you had to, even when you're given 100 bob, you must bring the balance, the change. So why did you use this money? Money does not grow on trees. It was literally our discussion.
And you know, when you think of it, what it did to the mind, because all these things then are things that formed and shaped our perspectives and our beliefs, our mindsets about how we handle money. You get into a place of a scarcity mindset. That money is never available.
Actually, I think this mindset has, for me, for a very long time, that has changed over for the last 5 years, maybe it has changed. But growing up, I knew there was that mindset of money where that money is not, you should preserve money, yeah. And so it was more of a scarcity mindset, not an abundance mindset. So you are like this, preserving money, taking care of money, not discussing so much about money. Actually, even when I remember when I was growing up and we would be told to go get money from maybe somebody, a neighbor or someone was supposed to give me money, you would talk about it as a report. Carry 40, you know, it was literally like you're not even saying it's money. So this thing about money it is something that has trauma. And I think that is why when we're talking about now financial therapy, understanding that yes, you can discuss about money and you can face it and you can actually plan for it.
Yes.
And even plan for that debt that you have, how you're going to settling with time. Yes. Yeah, and that is why you need a coach or a therapist to help you do this. Yeah.
There's something very powerful you've said, that we could not even say the word money. You're using other words to
describe the money.
To describe the money.
Yeah.
And that has a very big impact.
Yes.
On how the relationship we create with money.
Yes.
And so we keep asking, what is the kind of relationship you have with your money?
Yeah.
Are you friends? Do you have a distance relationship? Is it a toxic money relationship that you have?
But or love and hate.
Love and hate.
Yeah.
Or are you best of friends?
Yes.
Are you very secure to discuss and put actual words into these money conversations? I am in debt, you know, I am doing well or I am doing badly with, and you put actual words into it. So that's a conversation that we need to even dive deeper to help us and also help our community to be able to understand how to deal with these different mindsets about money, so that we can have a shift in terms of our money perspectives, our money mindset, and we adopt healthy money habits and healthy financial habits. And so we were looking at some of maybe the barriers, and I'm thinking also there's an element of impulse buying. Yeah. So you don't want to set your goals because you're the kind of person when you pass by, you know, as ladies with, you know, whether it's shoes, whether it's clothes, whether it is, you know. Yeah. Like for me, let me tell you, Beth, one of the things that I've had to unlearn, impulse buying shoes. I don't know why you are my twin, because I would no, you know, I think ladies that they love buying clothes, mostly handbags and shoes. But for me, when it comes to like buying a new shoe, maybe, or sometimes I impulse buy a lot earrings. So I don't know, it has something in me. Like when I see it, I feel like I want to buy it, and I might not see it again. That is the question. We always say that I might not see it again. So you want to buy it now, and even if it was not in the budget, I don't know. Yeah. So that's some of the things that I also had to unlearn, and also put, even if I have to impulse buy, and then it has to be in the budget, and if it's not in the budget, then I can't do it. Yeah, I think one of the ways I have learned, because it's about, for me, my financial journey has been looking at those things that I have to unlearn, learn, and relearn. So one of the ways that I have done that is that wherever I see a shoe and I'm so tempted to, and I'm feeling like I will not even get it tomorrow, is I have adopted a strategy which I call a 24-hour wait, whereby I tell myself, all right now I am feeling I really need this shoe. This color, I don't think I have it in my closet, in my shoe rack and all that. So I've got to a place where I am teaching myself, and this is where the relearning is, and the learning, to wait for at least 24 hours before I make that decision. Yes. And what that does to me is that it helps me settle that gratification sense that is in me. And I say, I can't delay this.
Yes.
Because it's all about satisfying your gratification.
Yeah. Actually, the law of delayed gratification, it's very powerful, such that you can even stay like 2-3 days before deciding yes or no.
Yes.
And if that is something that you are struggling with now, how I was able to do that is that when I see something, I ask for the number or I screenshot. Like mostly when I'm going online, I have seen something, instead of like buying instantly and going online and calling, I screenshot that and then I keep it in the gallery. I think most women do that. It makes you know that now this is something I can budget for the next month, and I know where to get it. I have their number, I have their location. This idea of it, I will never get it. You might even get something better, you know?
Yeah. And also I think another way that I have found myself doing it is so I look at the price tag to it. Say for example the shoe was going for X amount of money, and ask myself, do I need it, and what is motivating me to do it? Is it out of a need, or is it something else I am satisfying that is within me? Like maybe there's a gap. I ask myself those self-reflective questions, and if for sure the funds are there for me to meet it, I do a reallocation of that fund. And I say, this X amount of money that I wanted to spend on that shoe, I put it maybe in my savings, for whether I can send it to my account for my emergency fund, or I can build my sinking fund account into it, and just remove that. So what I call the habit replacement, pattern for me, and that has really worked. So if I'm not doing this, because nature hates a void, so if I say I'm not gonna buy that shoe at that moment, then what am I replacing that desire that I have in? One is saying I can't, and a no is a complete answer to me. I can't do it.
You drew a boundary to money.
A personal financial boundary into it. I say it was not in my budget. I'm not going to appease to my gratitude for it, but then also ask what else can I do to add value to myself, and so I can do a reallocation to that. Maybe also something else, that I was having a conversation with one of my clients that I'm taking through coaching and financial therapy, and they were sharing how they got a bonus at the end of the year, last year, 2024, and they didn't know what to do with this money because they had no plan. They had no financial plan. And there's something we call the lifestyle inflation. So you get a good commission, or you get a good deal if you're in business, or you get a pay rise, and since you do not have a plan as to how you want to spend this money, you are there. You are there stuck on what to do with it, and you either overspend because there was no clear plan as to how to do it, there was no clear financial goal, there was no clear plan, but it's just the money that just comes, and the unexpected. It's important to, train and retrain your brain to say, yes, I can take a percentage out of it, if it was a bonus or a commission or a pay rise, to appreciate you. Because you have to appreciate yourself as well. Then put that money aside into maybe a fixed account, deposit, or a money market as you try to think of how to spend. And
for me, I think a money market fund, I've always used a money market fund for parking money. I use the word parking because literally it's just like putting aside, just to, as I am thinking, what can I do with it? Let's say, for example, you have this let me just even use commissions that people get per month, and maybe the commission was higher than what you are expecting that month, so you don't even know where to put this money. So even as I'm thinking, I can just park it there, as it's going to gain interest on, it is going to gain interest even as I wait to do that. Maybe to use it. The other thing that how it has worked for me is where I make sure that I don't have money available in my M-Pesa that is too much to attract something. So for example, there's that money that I use per day, food or basics that I use per day. So I make sure that there's no extra available for me, because the more available it is, the more it makes you tempted. If for example you can easily access like 5,000 without just is so easily, it makes you even overspend and you do impulse buying, which can be a barrier to setting a goal.
Yeah, and I like that because it also speaks to something else that we would consider a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
You know, and that could contribute as a barrier to, setting proper financial goals.
Yeah.
Because if you're not disciplined in your financial habits and you're always craving for things, you're addicted into spending other than being addicted into the discipline of saving, discipline of investing, discipline of growing yourself. And when you're saying you're developing yourself financially, it's also about how you invest in you, in your personal self-development, like in, taking up courses on financial coaching, financial literacy, because it helps you build your muscle, your financial muscle, so that you become a better, become a better person in how you're managing your finances. So lack of discipline is a key one, and I know I struggled with that for a while.
You're not alone. You literally are not alone. Yeah, I also had that a lot, actually. For me, if I don't save that money aside and I have it in my M-Pesa, and I don't know what was wrong with me, somehow I would feel the money that is in the bank is easier to use because I will send in bulk and I feel like it's not my money literally. There's that psychological thing that when you're using money in the M-Pesa, you see the balance, like it's like 1,000, you feel like, don't use this one, I need fare, I need. But you have that temptation of that lack of discipline to spend now the one in the bank, because nowadays there is a USSD, there is the internet banking you can easily access, and that is why I think it is not even advisable to put money in a current bank account, because it will contribute to your bad habits of impulse buying.
Yeah. And I think when you also lack a way of tracking how you're spending, or how, just tracking that journey, your financial journey, then it becomes a bit of a challenge to even be able to do proper financial goal setting and proper planning and accountability, to overcome some of these challenges, because I have been on this journey, is I got an accountability partner. So it started with me always reminding myself that this is my personal journey and it is my personal finances, so it has to start with me, but I also now got somebody to help me keep myself accountable into it, which is very powerful, and it has really helped me be able to unlearn some of the bad financial habits that I had, and even as we speak to our community, it's good for us to have a starting point and ask yourself, where then do you begin? And I will refer back to where we started. It is doing that financial analysis, the health check. How is your pulse rate going? Kijiguza hivi, how are you feeling? Your pulse rate for your finances is pumping.
In the triad, you're still there.
On the triad, and asking yourself, uko wapi? And it said that if you do not plan,
if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly.
You
will definitely fail. You will find, and some of us have found ourselves in real financial messes because of lack of planning, lack of setting your financial goal, and you find yourself in a total mess. But when you find yourself in that mess, all is not lost. The thing
you are not alone.
Yeah, don't keep digging. And how do you stop digging the financial hole that you're already into? It is adopting these small steps that you are saying.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pauline. I think there's no better way to put it. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And thank you so much, Pauline, because today was really a day where people now are trying to understand their financial health, and they are going to a triage, and they are going to be having their financial life check, a reality check. And once now that is done, now we have a way to start. So thank you so much, Pauline. I think my viewers, as you have noted, is that Pauline is a financial therapist, a coach, and we are doing this coaching with her because I am so passionate also about financial coaching and financial therapy. And it is going to be a series of how money conversations even going forward. And probably you would want to reach to Pauline or myself. We have our numbers in the comment section, also in the screen. You're going to be seeing these numbers if you want to contact us, on also follow us on YouTube, on TikTok, and all other social medias. Thank you so much, Pauline. It's an amazing day, and I look forward to having more money conversations with you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.